Hey, everybody. Steve Tarter. Another edition of Tarter Sauce on a hot, steamy day in downtown Peoria in the Peoria Life Studios. With me today, I'm happy to have Peoria developer Katee Kim.
Hello, how are you?
Katee, I'm fine. We've sort of seen each other over the years. When I was with the paper, and you're doing projects all over town and the Heights and the Warehouse District. You are all over the place. And now we're going to talk about some of it. I don't think we're going to get to all of it, but you've been a very active person. Let's start a little bit. How did you get into this, being a developer? Somebody might say, if you were going to a third grade class, for instance, and they said, what's a developer? So how do you answer that?
Well, I usually tell people I was born into it and I was a victim of child labor law, is usually how it starts. But it's interesting because I grew up in Peoria and my parents owned Horan Construction.
Okay.
And so, as any parent or any has children, they work nights, weekends with them.
Sure.
And so we flipped houses on the weekends, and I learned how to do a lot of things within the house, but also to see what could be. And so at a very early age, and that's kind of been something that's been really stuck with me and traveled. But, just like any young kid, I said, I'm going to go to college. I'm not coming back.
Do my own thing.
Yeah, doing my own thing and spreading my wings. And so I went to Chicago, worked for a company called Accenture, and I worked in the research and innovation department. And what I really loved about that is I got to work with technology about 3 to 5 years to market and play with it and find, fastest I can tell you, strategic, profitable solutions for companies. So we kind of got to create what the next thing was going to be. So virtual medicine cabinets that could tell you, do you take your pills? Did grandma take her pills? Okay, no, the weight is still the same, stuff like that. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. But my time wasn't my own. And I wasn't able to really do the impact that I wanted to be fulfilled with. And so I went to work for a startup company that later got bought by another tech conglomerate, and then came back here to start working for the family company, and decided that what I saw in our area is that there were a lot of great businesses. We have a lot of great local businesses that needed to take the next step, but they didn't know how. And there really wasn't somebody to walk them through or hold their hand through that process. And I realized it was the best way to merge what I had been raised and learned to do with what I did after I graduated college and put it all together. And so that's where we relaunched the Kim Group in 2015 with the Trefsker's Bakery project in the Heights. And that was the beginning of our professional service division, which is, to me, the best thing I get to do. It's the most fun, is to work with small businesses and figure out how we can get them to the next level.
And we won't dwell on this because people maybe are getting tired of this constantly being the only subject. But with the pandemic, that whole thing, you talk about small business. I mean, they've been racked up and put aside and all that. Has that given you a whole new sort of series of challenges, given what's happened in this world over the last few months?
Well, yes, because when I saw the news, about what was happening in China, way back in January, February, and really thought to myself, how do I protect our business, but how do I protect my client's business? Because as you know, when you work with people, and especially as close as we do, and you work with their business and their baby, basically, they become family. And so I kind of like bent over for a second and said, okay, how do we all make it through this? How do I protect the family? And so really became an expert, if you will, on everything that was coming out from incentives and how to properly prepare. And so we started doing how-to videos for our clients, because we found a lot of people would talk about the SBA PPP or the SBA EIDL, but nobody would guide them through how to fill it out. What do you need? What does this mean when they ask for this information? And so we did. We got all the information. We walked through it. We filled out the application for a lot of our clients and for our business, and then we put it out there for everybody, not just for our clients. So on our YouTube page, you'll see. You can go look at how do you fill out an SBA PPP application? How do you look at forgiveness? And not just with that, we did one for the Heights Business Development District grant, all the programs, LISC, that we were aware of. And then we started sending out emails to them and really working with them and touching base and saying, how do you shift? And what does that look like for your business? Because, for example, CXT Roasting Company at Keller Station, they didn't do online ordering. And so, we were saying, hey, are you able to get going and with it? And they launched their online within 24 hours
Really?
and was able to stay open when a lot of other businesses did not. So, I had some friends call me and say, okay, Starbucks is closed. Is CXT open? I'm like, yes, here's the mobile app. So, which
Starbucks is closed.
Starbucks
the world
is
is coming to an end.
exactly. So, but it was great for them, right? Because their reach grew because they figured out how to shift their business. And if I've said this line one time, I've said it probably 1,000 times to my clients is you got to figure out if you're willing to fight for your business. Because if you're not, you should close the doors quick, go take the unemployment, get your extra $600 a week, then to figure out what you're going to do after it.
Right.
Because we're just starting. I mean, we're really just starting to climb out of this. And so if you haven't shifted your business yet, and you're not willing to do it, you're a little behind the curve, but it doesn't mean that you can't catch up. And so that's been a big aha for a lot of businesses is how do I shift? So
Right.
like Hello Headbands, who is also at Keller Station, she started her business online. And her business was continuing to grow during this pandemic, and she couldn't keep things in the store
Really?
stocked to open up.
Wow.
And so we just did her ribbon cutting last Friday, and she has scheduled times for people to come in. But we were talking, and she was like, well, I'm not really affected. And her fiance, Kyle, was like, well, actually, you are. You can't hire people to keep up with the demand. She donated over 100 headbands with buttons to the local hospitals here, and really without a lot of press on it. And I love it because those are the type of businesses that I work with every day that give back, that may
Right.
not get the big news exposure and stuff like
But
that for
others
what
do.
they do. Yeah.
Let's explain, because not everyone watching this or hearing this necessarily knows all the places. Keller Station. What's Keller Station?
So Keller Station is my playground right now.
Okay.
So Keller Station is
That's a big playground.
That's a big playground.
Yeah.
It's the former IDOT headquarters, which is actually it's 7 acres between Northmore and Knoxville and Prospect and Knoxville and really the Rock Island Trail and Donovan Park. And we are blessed to be in a public-private partnership with the Park District and to really rehab and redevelop that campus. And it's a building I've driven by for years
yeah.
and saying somebody should do something with that. Somebody should do something. And so when Emily from the Park District said, will you check it out? I'm like, yes. I was like a kid in a candy store walking through that building.
My turn.
Yeah. and it's great because a lot of the businesses get our vision and get what we want to do. We want to make Keller Station a family-friendly place to come and hang out, and to have events that you could bring your kids to, and maybe bring your kids to have a beer, catch a movie, just relax and enjoy it. Be out on the trail, the park, and really just have a good time. I want Keller Station, if at the end of the development, if one person would say, when they're bringing somebody to Peoria, the one place you have to go before you leave Peoria is Keller Station, then I've done my job.
Now, what is this about a drive-in? 'Cause I saw you on Facebook talking about a drive-in, and I'm thinking, a drive-in? Well, that's a great idea. But how are you doing that? What's that?
So we did a drive-in on the river a couple years ago with some friends. And so when all this happened, and you know me enough where you give me a box and you tell me I got to play within the box. We're going to use the whole box and say, okay, I can't do this, but I can do this. And so we started looking at how do we put together a drive-in movie theater. Actually, first it was how do we put together something where our community can come together, be socially integrated, but yet physically distancing. So we're still safe. We're respecting everybody's boundaries, whatever your belief of the pandemic is, and having fun, as a community and supporting one another. And so then, the first idea that we came up and started developing with is the drive-in movie theater. So it started actually
There
taking...
at Keller Station.
Yeah, at Keller
Okay.
Station. So it started with taking my real estate signs that we put in storefronts, and the back is white. And
Oh.
so my husband, I always joke with people, I'm like, I'm still married, which is a good thing. We put the back just to see the screen, and we used our office projector
Oh, okay.
and a little speaker. And so it started from that, and then it kind of grew and stepped. And Charles, my husband, he's an engineer by genetics basically. He always tweaks and takes it to the next level. So we went from, I'm going to say, about a 10-foot by 10-foot screen to a 20-foot by 36.5-foot screen.
Nice.
We've increased the projector to make sure it's bright enough and good quality. And we've now put it off the side of the building. So if you drive by if on the trail, if you ride by on the trail, you can see the screen up.
Oh.
And so we take it down, in bad weather and some
Right.
stuff. But
Winds can do a
winds
number.
can do that,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we basically looked at the parking lot and said, okay, again, what are my restrictions, right? You got to stay the 10 feet or the 6 feet. And so parking space is about 8.5 to 9 feet just from like line to line. So we went every other space in the parking lot. And where we positioned the screen very strategically is that we can have the parking lot full. We can have food trucks on the side, so ice cream truck, food truck, shaved ice truck. We had Bearded Owl there serving beer. Popcorn Heaven came out and did popcorn in the park, in the park for the movie. And then also people could sit in the park with no charge. And so we looked at it and basically said, how can we put this on for the community? And we have some sponsors. So Build Peoria and Shared Blessings helped us last weekend with some volunteers and donations. And really, we basically are doing it for the community. I mean, we're not doing it to
What
make
was the
money.
movie?
The first movie was Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
yep. And then
So
this
family,
weekend-
family themes. Okay.
And the hard part is because of the pandemic, a lot of the movie theaters have moratorium on the movie rights. So because they're not doing any new content. And so they have to have something to show in the movie theater.
Right.
And what we found is a lot of the titles we originally were wanting,
You couldn't
we
get.
couldn't get. And so I love it when people give me off the wall titles and stuff like that, because more than likely we can get those. And
Like the 50-foot woman or something? Yeah. Attack of the 50-foot woman.
and then and then again, you know me, I'm always trying to change the game and do something different. And so this weekend we're doing Ferris Bueller. Next weekend we're doing a Guitar Hero competition.
Now, is this Saturday night or Friday night?
Friday and Saturday
Friday
night.
and Saturday night. And
Yeah.
you have the starting time is what, dark?
So we have people on the regular movie nights. We open the parking lot at 7 p.m. And so we ask everybody to come about 7 to 7:30, and we close the gates at 8, just to be respectful, because a lot of people have kids that are, out in the parking lot,
Right.
and again, the
Don't
movie
need a lot of
starts.
traffic. Yeah.
But right now, the movie would start at dusk, so it's kind of that moving target. We just kind of said at dusk. So we are putting together some tenant teasers for our previews to kind of showcase our tenants and their brands,
Oh, good.
and also give
that's
everybody
nice.
a little walkthrough of the transition of the development. So kind of show before and after of the buildings.
What kind of turnout have you gotten so far?
So far, sold out.
Really?
So Goonies last weekend was sold out within about 48 hours of us posting the
Wow.
tickets.
Wow.
And then Ferris Bueller was, I have to look at that, but pretty much the same thing, about 24 to 48 hours. And
So people really sign up for it online.
they sign up for it online, which also helps us that if something does happen, we have everybody's email address. So you talk about contact tracing and all that. And we would take tickets at the door, or sell tickets at the door, if you will, or the gate.
Right.
But we've been really blessed to have them sell out, and that's great. And
So
because
you
the
don't-
first time you do it, you don't know if you're going to sell one ticket.
So now, are you familiar with the old problem? I don't know if it's a problem, but the old tradition of the parking of the drive-in, where you just throw somebody in the trunk and you drive in, and so they'd see 3 people in the car, or 2 people. There's 2 more in the trunk,
Oh yeah.
So
Well, when I was a kid, we had a Navy Suburban, and the Bronco basically. And I remember I would be in the back, under the covers until we passed the gate. My
then
dad's
then
probably
you
like,
can get out. Okay,
yeah.
so you're
Then you
hip
could
to
get
that.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's where we want to make this affordable for families. I mean, this is not. I mean, the Kim Group is really given all the costs to get
Right.
the setup, and so
Get people to come out and
just to come out and really engage. And I will tell you, it was so fulfilling on Saturday to see some people, again, there's every other space, and then there's some crosswalks in the parking lot. And we tell people, like, if you're going to come with like like so for example, if I would invite my mom and myself, you could get parking spaces together. And as long as you've part of what we call the community family,
Right.
then you can set up chairs in the middle parking space. And so people were doing that, and they were, throwing bags and, just kind of like a nice tailgate area, if you
Right.
will. People were creating beds in the back of their pickup truck to like lay down and watch the movie. And it was really fun. And I thought there would be one kind of demographic, but we had
Wide variety.
variety. We had some high school kids that were playing lacrosse in the Donovan Park before the movie came over. We had a couple families that had their kids with scooters on the trail, and
Nice.
it was just great. And that's exactly what we wanted.
And will that go on all summer, or what's your plan?
So right now we've set events till the first weekend in August. Again, kind of one of those, sometimes we put some crazy ideas together, and we wanted to make sure that the community, one, we stay safe with it, and that they embrace it and enjoy it. And
great.
so then we've started to just kind of see what else we can do. So Studio C is going to be a tenant at Keller Station. They did some outdoor classes on Saturday morning. And so you're biking down Rock Island Trail, and you're hearing some, bumping club music, and they're rocking it out. So we really are using the campus.
Very good.
But yeah.
Great. And we should mention CXT is out there at Keller Station
Yes.
too. So
Yeah,
that's
they
a-
are adding to their patio all the time because it's huge.
I was impressed with that because if you only know CXT from downtown,
Yep.
that's that little tiny place near the Apollo Theater, and that's great. I mean, you can go and grab your coffee and go, but the place they have at Keller Station, much bigger, their roasting area, whatever, and it's really, that's a great place.
Awesome. Well, and that's where I'm kind of excited to do these before and after videos for people to see. Because when we first walked in with Tristan, Kelly, and Mitch, it was the old shop for the IDOT. So all their trucks, and it had lead-based paint on the walls and asbestos tile. And, and I'm like, it's going to be cleaned up,
Trust
roll
me.
with me on this. And they saw the vision, they loved it. And it's been absolute pleasure working with them. And they're definitely a company that's shifted. I mean, I think they have an amazing product. I think they have the best coffee in town. And their wholesale has increased. They started doing barista bags, where like $5 of the bag purchase goes to the barista.
Oh, nice.
So and that's what we're about. How do you win-win? How do you give back to the community? So
Now we're this thing runs fast, so let me get you
Oh, yeah.
1 minute to go for warehouse
geez.
district. Yeah. In case you didn't know, we're almost out of time. We want to do Keller Station because that's your play toy, as you said. But
Yeah.
warehouse district is another area where you're
yeah.
keeping up. What's the latest there? Because
Yes.
now we're all coming back.
Yes. So Venue Chiska is going to be opening up here again pretty soon. So she's shifted to see how do you do smaller events and how do you do things there. Gone Axe Throwing's actually been expanding during this time frame. So they're actually adding their escape rooms within the building. And then our neighbor Chris Ober, he's shifted from doing to making whiskey to making hand sanitizer, and his place is absolutely gorgeous. So he's an amazing neighbor, and we're super excited to have him going. And then there's just a lot of development that's coming too. And so it's interesting how the warehouse district, it's still growing and going, if you will. One of our clients, Crafted, is a DIY studio and bar. They bought the old chemistry bar next to Rambler and Zion. Totally have transformed that. I mean, it is amazing. And so Jody, actually, you can come there, do an art project, have a drink, sit outside. And it's really cool because, again, I think those businesses, they shifted, they got creative. And, when we always say, like, is it playing in Peoria? I feel like our businesses are playing right now. They are just having fun with their business model and growing and just pushing the envelope.
Wow. Well, you hit that nail right there at the end. Good timing here. It sounds like you're going to be moving from one project to another, which is probably what you like. And we'll try to keep up with you on that. But where should people go? What website that would give them more of this background?
So www.kellerstation.com is actually the website. So that's where all of our ticket stuff are. Bear with us. We're still building that.
Sure.
And so we just actually released a lot of the events we're going to be doing. So we're going to have an event for researchers to benefit American Cancer Society coming up. We're going to have a pirate night. We're going to have
night. There we go.
Olympics at Keller Station. And I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, we're going to have an all-shelter adoption day for pets. And all the proceeds for the movie those 2 nights are going to go to Bears Bites. They're starting a foundation for people who adopt shelter animals for their medical expenses. So we're super excited to be a part of that.
Will you be running Old Yeller? Or no, maybe Disney
No.
won't let you do that. Everyone will be crying
I don't do
anyway.
horses, dogs, or dolphin movies. Like, no, they never end. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, so that'll be a fun night to get the kids out. We're doing the Secret Life of Pets 2 on that one, and
I love that series.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Katee Kim, you're an inspiration to us all. It made me tired just listening to you. That's okay. It's all right.
Come get coffee. No.
Yeah, that's right. Go to CXT, everybody. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much. We'll catch
you.
up with you later, and we'll see you next time on Tarter Sauce.
PeoriaLife.com